What's up guys, it's Alex. Today I've got a pretty cool video for you guys. So here in just a few minutes you guys are going to see some fish catches, a little compilation I put together. We went fishing. It's over a few days just to kind of show you guys some extreme water conditions and extreme weather conditions that we've been dealing with. And I'm going to talk to you guys about baits that I like to throw, especially this time of year when the water is fluctuating up and down, when we have cold fronts, when we have warm fronts, when we have thunderstorms, extreme amounts of rain, which all affect a lake. And so I'm going to talk to you guys about some things that I like to throw this time of year to help me get a few more bites. So it's obviously springtime. It's a great time to be out there fishing. It's a great time to catch one of the most quality fish you're going to catch all year. You've got, fry garters, you've got spawners, you've got bed fishing, you've got post-spawn fish starting to happen, you got shad spawn, you got all kinds of things. You got a lot of opportunities to catch bass in a lot of different ways. But when you have, an extreme rainstorm move through like we did just a few days ago, and, it rains 8-9 inches in just a couple of days, you're really at the mercy of a couple things, especially if you live on TVA lakes like I do, or any lake that's controlled by a dam. You're at the mercy of the weather, and you're at the mercy of the people who control those dams. So a video I put out a few days back is a great example of this, and you guys will see footage of post what I'm about to talk about. But the video I put out a few days back was flipping jigs during a flood, and we were on a lake that was way up. I'm talking like way up further than it normally is all year. The water was up in the parks, up in the campgrounds, up in the trees, up in the grass and the bushes. And when that water came up, a lot of those fish went with the water. They got snugged up right towards the bank, and I was able to go through with a little jig and get some bites and just catch a bunch of fish and have a really good time. But it wasn't 2 days later we went back to try to do sort of the same thing, and they had drawn that lake down almost 6.5 feet. So that means that all that stuff I was flipping, all that stuff that was underwater, was now 6 foot out of the water. And the reason they did this is because they had to accommodate the lake that was upstream from it, because it was so full. It had more water in it than it had had in a couple years. It was the video where I showed you guys the water spilling over the dam. That lake actually dumps into the lake I was fishing. So what that means is that they had to draw Mountain Hill, the lake we were fishing, down to accommodate all the water that was coming out of Norris. And so, it's going to jack the fish up. When the fish go from being where they're normally at that time of year, you got to imagine this bass, he's hanging out in the fork of this tree. He's got, he's got his little bed there, or he's guarding his fry. His girlfriend's down at the end of the tree getting ready to transition into deep water. And all of a sudden, his home is gone. You know what I mean? It's like someone dragging you out of your living room onto your front yard. You're not going to be very happy. That, or you're sitting there and all of a sudden, where your home was at, they move it 2 miles down the road, and it's extreme examples, but it's pretty much what happens to the fish. I mean, they get jerked out of their home, or their home gets where it was in 2 foot of water where they want it to be, where they're sitting on their bed in the sunshine, and then all of a sudden it's in 15 foot of water because the water's been raised up so much. Obviously, if it was you, you're going to be a little grumpy. You're not going to be very happy. The fish are kind of the same way. They get a little lockjaw, they get a little finicky, that pressure, they don't like that pressure on them. But you can still catch fish this time of year. You can get those bass to eat, especially if you play the weather, you play the water and all that kind of stuff, you can get a few more bites. So I got some stuff here that I like to throw, especially in extreme conditions or on extremely pressured fish. And that pressure usually comes from this time of year: weather, water, and even fishing pressure. So we're going to go over some stuff that I like to do, some things I like to throw. So let's get right into it. The first thing is something moving slow. Texas rig, a jig, a shaky head, smaller, more compact, kind of finesse presentation, something that I can cover a lot of water with, but all at the same time, I'm going to be moving it slow. I'm going to be, giving those bass really a chance to look at it, especially if the water's dirty. When they jerk the water up or jerk the water down, a lot of the times it's going to dirty the water up. There's going to be a lot of stuff floating around. So you want to give the bass something, that they can look at, but all at the same time, it's not too big, it's not too bulky. So One thing that I really like to throw, and you guys saw it in the video a couple days back, is a jig. These are both flipping jigs. This is a Beast Coast Vanquish flipping jig, and this is a Nichols flipping jig. Both of these are in 1/2 ounce. These are just two great kind of representations of the colors. This is a more natural color. Obviously, if the water's not too dirty or the fish just seem to be keying in on that more natural color, your browns, your green pumpkins are the way to go. You might want to tip the claws with a little bit of chartreuse. And then if the water's super dirty and the fish just seem to not be keying on that stuff, your blacks, your blues, your more darker colors are going to do a lot better. And then another thing is your trailer. I always like to fish a trailer like this Nichols Texas Crawl. This trailer has those little appendages. It really kicks in the water. It really creates a lot of vibration. So if the water's dark, if it's dirty, if there's a lot of stuff floating around, that darker color, so that those bass can see it, they can key in on it, that darker color is going to give you a profile, and then the kick of that trailer is going to give you that vibration. Really hit that bass's lateral line and get their attention, and probably get a bass to come over and check this out. And now when it comes to, like I said, Texas rig shaky heads, I like to fish a Nichols shaky head. This is a 3/8 ounce Nichols shaky head. I like the 3/8 ounce so I can throw it on a bait caster. I can flip it. I can do all those kinds of things. You can even downsize and throw like a 3/16 on a spinning rod or something. But I like to run some kind of creature bait. This is a Zoom Z-Crawl Junior. It's just a smaller, more compact version of the normal Z-Crawl. But the key with that is it's got those flanges, it's got those appendages that have a lot of kick, put off a lot of vibration. So even though it's a small package, it's a small presentation, you're putting off a lot of vibration so that those bass can key in on it and you can get a few bites. And you know, that's great for both. When the water's coming up, when the water's going down, you know, one rule of thumb that I like to remember is slow down a little bit, really pick apart something. You know, if you see something that looks like a bass should be sitting on it, throw at it a couple times. You know, cycle through a couple different things. Try a Texas rig with a full-size Z-Crawl. If they don't like that, try a jig. If they don't like the jig, try the shaky head. Kind of just pick and choose, but make sure that you're fishing something slow, and you know, that way you can just fish slow and try to get a few more bites out of those finicky bass. So the next couple things I'm going to cover here aren't really super slow presentations, but they are a great way to cover water. You know, and you know, right now, even though the water is going up and down, the shad are still spawning. So that means there's going to be shad moved up shallow. So even if they don't spawn in the morning, they're still there. So if a place, you know, gets drawn down way far or gets washed out, the shad, they're still kind of hanging out there. The bass will probably still be feeding on them. So it's always a great idea to have a couple shad representations out on the deck of the boat. You know, even though the water was up way higher than it normally is on Cherokee, you guys will see this in the video. I mean, it was like way up. There was no boat ramp, it was so far up. There were still shads spawning like in crazy places. You know, there's logs and stuff floating down the river or floating next to the dam, where normally they'd spawn on that riprap next to the dam. They were spawning out on these logs, and there was fish just blowing up kind of everywhere. So it's great to have something like a spinnerbait or a swim jig just to be able to throw to those places, throw to, you know, like little targets out, or just cover a lot of water, fan cast an area to see if you can pick up a few more bites. So obviously the spinnerbait, this is a Nichols Pulsator. This is a Nichols Saber Swim Jig. Both of these are great options just to be able to toss them around, roll them back slow, roll them back fast. With both of them, you can fish them through cover pretty effectively. With the swim jig, a little bit more. You can fish them both in sparse grass and broke apart grass. A lot of times when the water comes up, it'll get sparse. And then just all that floating junk. It's a great way to cover a little bit of water while still being able to get through all that junk that's going to be floating everywhere when the water goes up and when the water goes down. So just another option just to have laying out there ready to go, just so you can cover a little bit more water if you see those bass are wanting to feed on those shad. But those are kind of the things, these are the things I've been using the past few weeks. These are the things that I like to use. These are kind of the things I think about when water's going up, water's going down, water gets dirty, all those kinds of things. These are the kinds of things I'm going to pull out of the box and try to go catch a few. But As always, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoy these fish catches. Make sure to go hit the description up. I'm going to leave links for everything I talked about in today's video. That way you guys can go pick some of this stuff up, go catch a few fish. But as always, you guys are sweet. Thanks for watching. Did I get the net? Yeah. Oh, he ain't that big. No. Hit it on the fall. It's pretty good. I never felt him bite. He's just swimming sideways with it. That's there right up there on the bank. He started swimming with it. Baby zebra. Get him. Sit that in there more. Yep. He's a god. He is. Hey, hey. Cool. Oh, eat it. Ah. They're lively. Look, he's been caught. Yep. What happened? What happened? Did you get bit?